Welcome to the Mangrove Community, strengthening the community one branch at a time. For more information about the community or how to volunteer, please visit mangrovecommunity.org.
All right, how everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of Reasonable Doubt podcast. I'm Carl Ward, your host. We have a special guest here, Robin Anderson. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about
Feeling
yourself,
good?
man? You good?
I'm feeling good, blessed,
all right,
man.
All right.
Can't complain at all. So, let's let people know who you are. Robin Anderson, the man. Who are you? Where you from?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to school?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your career path,
Mm-hmm.
college path. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Robin J. Anderson. I was born in Houston, Texas, raised in Houston, Texas. Grew up on kind of like the little small, it's an apartment complex outside Acres Home it's called Copper Tree now.
Okay.
But it's 100 for us back then, back in the late 80s or whatnot. I grew up there, and my mom moved us out of there, and then moved us into Hidden Valley, which is across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up there, graduated from Aldine High School, attended Prairie View A&M, majored in political science. Left Prairie View. My mom took ill. She had was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay.
So I still taking care of her. Had a family. Got into retail. Worked in Greenspoint pretty much for a while.
Okay.
Got out of that. Worked at Oric Vacuums for a while, and then from there started my own business with a friend of mine. It's called Square Biz Greek Shop. We sold like Greek paraphernalia and things like that.
Okay.
So,
but for like the fraternities or okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did that. It's still open. It's still now. It's still open, and that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Okay. Where you located? Where the shop located?
It's in Acres Home.
Okay.
On West Montgomery, A301 West Montgomery.
So anybody need their Greek fraternity?
Go holler at Square Biz. Go in there. Tell them Rob sent you.
Gotcha. And they Square Biz. Huh?
Square Biz.
All right. Well, cool. What about? So you went to Prairie View, but you came home early because of your mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I can relate to that a lot. I had the same story with LSU. My mom, she took sick. She had a bone disease where her bones and joints were deteriorating. She had to get a hip replacement, I think at 42 or 43.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had to come back home to take care of her. So believe me, I went that same path. And like you say, when I came home, life happened, started working. Next thing I know, I'm married with children.
Right. Yeah, same way.
I understand. So, but it sounds like you've had a heart for politics. When did you start with that? Because you went to college for it, you majored in it. So when did that passion? When did your mind get set on politics?
I had a college professor by the name of Dr. Amari Obadele, God rest his soul, and he was a former Black Panther, and he taught political science, and so he opened my mind up to another paradigm of what politics was or what it is, and so he challenged me. He said, "Well, Robin, when you get your degree, what are you going to do with it?" He said, "I challenge you when you get this degree, make sure you go back to your community and bring your people together." And that's what happened. He gave me that charge, and so I'm still on that challenge.
Gotcha. So what does politics mean to you?
To me, I'm an avid reader, and I've done the etymology of the word politics. Poly, P-O-L-I, means many. Ticks, T-I-C-S, is blood-sucking parasite. So to me, that's what politics is.
A lot of people won't agree, but it sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And so, and when you add the issue on the end of a politician, like a beautician, it's like it's an art of
blood-sucking politics.
There you go.
Cool. Well, that's good to know. Very informative. I guess let's take it back a little bit. You say you grew up in the Acres Home area. What type of issues did you notice as a child coming up, or did you notice any? Was your eyes open to any issues?
Very much so. Very much so. So I grew up in a single parent household, and I noticed a lot of my friends grew up the same way, and so I knew that the main thing was like we didn't own a home. A lot of my friends didn't own homes, and so I was like, okay, but I was just still being a kid, and so I noticed that there was a lot of negativity around because of our living conditions. I've seen some things, man. And Acres Home, I say I saw it on its upswing and downswing. You know, I've heard stories with some of my mentors saying that how Acres Home, you know, back in like the late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you didn't have to leave Acres Home for anything.
Right.
Everything was right there in the middle of the community.
Right.
And so it's not like that anymore.
Right. Yeah, because I believe when I was doing my research on it, Acres Home was actually one of the largest black communities in the country.
Correct.
At one time.
It was.
Yeah. So, so what did you see? What do you think the change happened with businesses leaving the community and everything being at your fingertips?
Right.
Where did that change come?
I think what happened, integration. Integration hit, and a lot of our monies was taken out of the community and put into other affluent areas, you know, and so with that happening, that was the decline. That, and then when crack hit.
Right. Yeah, that messed up a lot of communities. A lot of families left, a lot of single families. Yeah, and we're still suffering from that today.
Still suffering from it. I agree.
Yeah. So, what made you want to run for District B?
My goal to run for District B was to really build more unity back in our community. You know, I think that this seat can be used to have more advocacy. That we don't have that. You know, to my knowledge, I haven't seen it. You know, it's more so like I've seen a lot of, and I don't want to put anybody out there like that, because like I say, but to me, advocacy we can utilize this seat to bring more unity to our community. You know, and so. That's my platform. I'm building unity to the community.
And that's great, because you know, something as I do work in the community with people, and you meet people and you think things go a certain way, or people mindsets are a certain way. You learn that a lot of people have self-serving agendas.
Yes.
You learn that a lot of the issues in the community or the resources that are available, they get choked up in the political seats that are there, in the organizations that they distribute the funds to, and things like that. How can a person like yourself circumvent those issues to make sure that everything that's available to you as a District B city councilman gets out to the community?
Well, I'm already doing it, to be honest with you. So right now I work with about 3 or 4 different nonprofit organizations. I volunteer there. Okay. So one is called the Roy L. Jackson Foundation. This young lady, Gwen Jackson, her dad passed from lung cancer. And so she's continuing his legacy by helping out the community with people who are suffering from lung cancer. And she's also kind of detoured a little bit, and she's doing a backpack drive, actually. So she's helping out, doing things, like, you know, passing out, you know, food to the people who need it and things like that. Another brother, his name is Tony Gary. He has a thing called a foundation called Incarcerated Alliance, where he's dealing with youth that parents who were incarcerated. Okay. So he helped them out as well, being a mentor to them. So I work with a few of them, you know. And so to me, that's what we need. We need more nonprofit organizations in our community that can help build us back up again.
Gotcha. So what you're saying, you're already out in the community. You're already working in the community. That's already where your heart is. So you're just trying to elevate yourself to a position where you can bring more
resources
to more people.
There you go. Yeah.
How are you going to handle traveling District B with it being so spread out? Because you have the northeast side of the city, Bordersville, which is up by the airport. You have Greenspoint and portions of Acres Home. Right. How do you hit all those spots and advocate and communicate to all those different communities?
That's where the unity part comes in at. So my desire is to get with the civic clubs, you know, hopefully they're still functioning, and get with them, because I think every community has to have an agenda. You know, I can get in there and have all kind of plans, but if it's not conducive to the agenda, it doesn't make any sense. Right. You know what I mean? So just keep working with the civic clubs, get on the ground. That's what I'm doing now. We're knocking on doors, getting a consensus of what's all happening, what you need, what's wrong, you know. So that's how we find out.
And what have you been able to determine so far with all the information you've gathered?
A lot of it, like I say, it's like I've been in Acres Home. That's where I started at. With Acres Home, you have a lot of illegal dumping issues, of course, economic development issues. So, and that's pretty much around the whole District B area, you know. So it's been pretty consistent.
Okay. So with the problems, do you have any resolutions in mind as far as how to prevent illegal dumping? How do we bring economic development to these areas that you're serving?
In my opinion, the first thing we have to do is we have to get some home ownership, more home ownership. Okay. Right now we have more single moms running households. So we get them to be more connected to the community by being a homeowner, affordable homes. Then we can put together a platform to show them, hey, this is what you do in order to be a productive citizen. You know, get involved in your civic club meetings. Go and figure out what's going on, you know, and then we can start showing them how to even just small building gardens, you know, in their backyards, you know, because since the woman is running the household, the woman is going to raise the kids, young men. So we had to show them, hey, look, this is what you do in order to be a productive citizen, you know. So when home ownership comes, then that's when you get the local businesses or like the HEBs or whoever. They say, okay, you know what? They have an influx of 100 homeowners here. They're productive, so we know what the numbers will show that we can put an HEB in this community. You know, they can have more better food to eat and things like that. So one hand washes the other in a sense.
Right.
So mostly homeownership.
So homeownership. Now I hear you saying bringing the HEB in. What are your ideas on trying to educate our people and also empower them to put our own grocery stores in these communities instead of reaching out to those big corporations who have to look at numbers and things like that, not necessarily just the need because it's out there. Because I think Acres Home has a few spots as far as grocery stores.
Right, yeah.
But I know Greens Point is a food desert.
Right.
Northeast Side is basically a food desert for the most part.
That's a good question, Mr. Ward. It's like the hard part is finding investors. And with some of these areas being quote unquote poverty at poverty level, it's like how much money do we? I mean, who we're going to come together and put our money together to put a grocery store in our communities? You know what I mean? And so it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess, and part of it is educating the younger generation because we have a lot of people out here who, especially in these communities, who they may make money, have money, but not necessarily know what to do with it.
I agree.
And maybe we can grab their attention as investors. And then piggybacking off of what you said about community gardens or even teaching our people how to garden in their own backyard.
Yes.
Is it possible to even set up a program where these are the people who are providing the produce for a grocery store that alleviate that cost for us? And then making partnerships with different farms or agriculture as far as getting the meat in and things like that. And then, of course, for everything else, we would have to outsource to different vendors and get on board with them.
That's the plan. I say everything's about relationships, man. You know, so like I say, once we build it, they'll come because they'll show, hey, look, we have the capability to sustain ourselves. We just need a little help.
Gotcha.
You know, so yeah.
Gotcha. And then with home ownership, because I've been fortunate enough, my organization has been fortunate enough to be selected as a fair housing ambassador for the city of Houston. And what they're doing right now, they're collecting surveys until the end of September. They're collecting surveys from the community. They want to know what problems do you face with buying a home, as far as maybe financially, economically. We know it's a lot of discrimination. We sat and we reviewed several charts and maps of the city and how it's set up, and it's definitely, just off the statistics, you can see where there is discrimination in home ownership and selling homes and renting. And basically, I guess I'm asking you as well, are you willing to help out with that initiative?
Most
if we can get those surveys out there to the people to find out what's really going on, there's
Most
actually funding that's becoming available. That's why they want these surveys in, so they can get the funding to allocate and implement plans, action plans to speak to those different issues that they find within the surveys.
Most definitely. If it requires some kind of sweat equity, I'm in.
Right. Because I brought it to their attention. I'm like, they talked about grants, which the city of Houston has a grant right now. They offer up to $30,000 for first-time home buyers, which is a great thing. But working for NACA, which I do now, and bringing people affordable housing, when you take a look at people's credit, it's a debt issue, and it may not necessarily be something. They may be 6 months into fixing their credit, but in order to get into this home, you have to have 2 years of good credit, or you have to pay down all your charge-offs, collections, and things like this. So it was brought to their attention, why not have a debt reduction program? That's another thing that can help people in that process with getting in homes and become homeowners and things like that. So just some things to consider. What else is your campaign based on? I know it's unifying the community. You said home ownership, economic development. Any other things you're looking to address?
Yeah, we have a heavy. I just found this out about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sex trafficking.
Right.
A lot of our kids are coming up missing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to figure out why and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even with starting with home ownership, a lot of that stuff is going to start to dwindle down because now you're being more, you're paying attention to what's going on more so. You know, and when you're stationary, even the PTA is starting to get more active because you know, okay, hey, you know what, my kids in school, this is what's going on. How can I get involved? You know, so but definitely sex trafficking.
So that's another thing you would like to address. How would you, who would we get with to address those issues or
HPD.
HPD?
So this year we know we're doing a tree lighting ceremony. I've done a tree lighting ceremony for the past 7 years. So this year we're going to have more resources of like HPD come out. Maybe we can get some name badges, put up people around people's arms, register the kids. That way, if something happens, we can have processes to go through. We can find them.
Okay.
You know, so things like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then speaking of HPD, crime, I know is an issue that needs to be addressed in a lot of these areas. How do you view fixing those issues? Because I know, some people just feel like we should throw the police at the problem, put people in jail.
Yeah.
How do you feel the best way to correct those issues?
A lot of I think what crime happens is because they're hurting, man. You know, they're just trying to survive.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that I understand, but I empathize. You know, so we had to figure out ways of, like you say, teaching some kind of entrepreneurship. You know, some kind of programs where we can show people, hey, look, you don't, this fast money is not the way to go. You know, or go and try to take what somebody has, it's not the way to go. You know, so we had to figure out ways of getting to them. You know. But I understand. I mean, it's rough out here, man.
Right,
you
right.
know.
What do you have any solidified plans or anything that we can do, or is that just a work in progress for you?
A lot of it's all work in progress. Yeah, a lot of it's work in progress. You know, because solidifying, like I say, that's still part of an agenda. You know what I mean? And my agenda is to bring us together first. We get together, everything else is gonna pretty much fall under that. You know, so from illegal dumping to all kind of things like that. But we got to get our homes straight first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We do have to take care of ourselves. Now, you saying bringing everybody together, that's what your entire campaign is behind, unity in the community. And as we were talking earlier, we realize that's one of the hardest things, especially with the younger generation. How do we bring everybody in? How do we get everybody interested and informed on what can be done?
What I've noticed is that we have to meet them where they are. That's the main thing. We meet them where they are, talk to them, and it's all about communication. You know, communication, talking to the kids, the youth. You know, because we've been young. I was young once. You know, I feel like the world was against me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And, but I thank God I didn't go out there and do some crazy. You know what I mean? So, but I think once the youth can relate to you and to us, then everything else is gonna it'll fall in line.
Okay. So let me see. When you first get in office, what's your first 60 days? What would you focus on?
Trying to figure out what happened from the first previous years, because he's going to have some things on the books, I'm pretty sure, to get acclimated in, see what's on the books, and then say, okay, well, how do I govern this budget that I'm going to get the following year on how to improve the community, and so yes, getting acclimated in, man,
and learning the ropes, huh?
Learning the ropes, yes, sir.
All right, well, cool. Very interested to know, you've been from the Aldine area, Aldine district, with the schools, and then I know HISD is included in District B. If you talk to people who were on the northeast side of District B when it made the transition from North Forest to HISD, I hear people saying it's a major difference in the quality of teaching, the care, even the resources that are now available.
Yes.
How do you address that as a District B city councilman?
Actually, education is one of I was actually vicariously a teacher through my mom. She taught for 35 years in Aldine District, before she passed. And so, so I know about resources in a sense. I would see her get ready for the school year months before getting there, decorate a classroom and things like that. And so, but to answer your question, we have to work with our state reps, because that stuff comes down the pipeline, and see what exactly can we do to get more funding for teachers. I think they're severely underpaid, you know. But that's what I would do. Talk with our state rep, you know, Jarvis Johnson, was it Charles Dutton? I think it is.
Harold Dutton.
Harold Dutton.
Yeah.
Harold Dutton out there. He has a Spurman Thompson, all those, and see what can we do to stop what's going on.
Okay. What about vocational training? I know that's been taken out of the schools. Do you
Yes.
think that's important?
It's
And
very
how can
important.
we work on getting that back in the schools?
It's very important. It's going to be hard because with what was that, DeVry and UTI, all of that those services have been taken out of school and put into them. So, and even now you have at ACC, you have, you know, welding and things like that. And so, I think if we get it back in high school, I think more kids would be more acclimated and know how to, and even want to, they might want to do it.
Right.
You know, so yeah.
Because we can definitely bring CNC machines in,
Mhm.
teach them how to weld,
Mhm.
and that way they'll have the hours they need
I
coming
agree.
straight out of high school.
I agree.
And even get connected with the unions to,
Mhm.
once they come out of high school, go straight into apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a plan. What about, like for instance, if we go down Greens Road, make the right on Ella,
Mhm.
you have Davis High School right there.
Mm-hmm.
At night, especially in the winter months when the time changes, you have children that don't have bus resources because they live so close to the schools. They have to walk home or either get a ride home. And those who have to walk, they're walking in the pitch black dark. There's no
Wow.
street lights on the street, anything like that. Took it upon myself to reach out to the city to see what it would take to get street lights put on that street. I was given a form to fill out about whether street lights are needed, what it would take. And one of the things that was in there is that me as a citizen requesting these services, if they had to implement the poles for the lights, if the street doesn't already have the wooden power lines that they can just hang the lights from, it comes at a fee to whoever's requesting it.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Wow. Wow.
yes. So how, first off, do you feel like there should be the process in play for the citizen to fit the bill? And then you have a school district who built the whole school
Right.
without streetlights in mind. It seems like a communication was missed somewhere with the
I agree.
city
Right.
and everything else. So how would we get streetlights put on the street like that?
That's a good question, man. I think what should happen is you say you want to get your super neighborhood involved out here, right?
Right.
So I think it should start there first. Get a consensus of people saying, hey, look, you know, the parents, look, you know, this is the issue out here. We need to get these lights out. So I think the more noise you make, the more they have to react to it because it's a need.
Gotcha.
And God forbid something happens.
Right.
And you start this process and say, hey, look, I started it, but the city's not acting on it.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean?
got you. How you feel about management districts?
Management districts. If you have the businesses to sustain it, it's good. If not, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, even with like the turds, you know, same thing. You know, I think about 4 years ago, I made a call downtown to the city, and I was trying to figure out how can we get turds in Acres Home. They basically shot me down saying that Acres Home it wouldn't survive because it's more of a urban area instead of commercial. I'm like, well, we have businesses out there. I mean, anyway, but
I guess
yeah.
not big business,
Right.
per se,
Right.
Because they take that tax money, they use it to build up the area, correct? So, like, let's take Greens Point for instance. This is a big commercial area. We got places like Coca-Cola coming into town. We have Amazon, HD Supply. We have several office buildings around here, oil and gas. As we know, Exxon was responsible for establishing this area to begin with. They used Friendswood Development Company, was a subsidiary of Exxon back in the 70s when the mall got built. Once the mall came, Exxon came in and built those 8 interconnecting towers. What we're seeing, we have a skate park that was built in Greens Point.
I saw that, yeah,
a few
on
years
Rankin.
back.
Yeah.
Number 1 skate park in the nation.
Wow.
Right now under construction is the number 1 bike park in the nation, right next to it. Now, just honestly speaking, those type of venues don't serve our community.
Right.
A lot of people from our community, they don't skate.
Right.
They don't do the BMX and things like that. So it seems like, again, someone was excluded from the conversation on what to do with our tax money. What are suggestions, or how do you see us getting involved in that area to be able to say, hey, we prefer a community center that has computers that we can teach these job skills in, and have different, rooms to host different events and bring the community together. Because as I see it, Greenspoint is one of the only communities in District B that does not have a civic center, community center, multi-purpose center, none of the above.
Wow. Now that you mention that, I don't. My mind's eye, I don't see it either. And I've been out here for a while. And I was thinking back to your question about the lights. That type of project should be part of TERS, because I know that in Third Ward, going up, I want to say that's not Wheeler. Is it Emancipation? And I can't think of the street. But anyway, they had a project where they had lights put up. But they used their TERS tax money to do it. You know what I mean? And so, but as far as community centers, like I say, I think that once you establish a super neighborhood and start having like your PIP meetings, CIP meetings, things like that, it's showing that you're active and this is a need. So I think we start doing that. You have to start from the ground level first, man, and build up.
And establish that leadership in the area.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Back to, and I want to get on this TERS thing because it seems like you have a little bit more information on it. How do we speak to our government again? Is it again through the super neighborhoods and things like that to bring their attention to what's needed, or who speaks to the TERS districts?
I know the TERS, to my knowledge, is signed off by your state representative.
Okay.
So you go to your state rep, you got to go through a process, I guess, getting your signatures and getting the businesses involved to sign off on it. The state rep signs off on it, boom, you have a TERS.
Cool. So it's just about getting the community involved.
Get involved. Yes,
All right.
Sir.
So with you being in the position you're in, man, we're gonna need a lot of help out here on your end.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it. I'm definitely,
Cool. So what other things do you see or anything else you want to talk about or address that, as far as the needs of the community?
We need more programs to bring everybody together. Like I know you guys have a national night out, but besides that, there's no other things in Greenspoint that bring everybody together. Right. I've seen a divide between the baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Y. There's nothing that we can pocket everybody together and say, hey, this is this is who we are. So my goal is to I know it sounds crazy, but the Acres Home tree lighting is a platform to bring everybody together. We give out free toys, free food. It's a platform for like after school programs who have like the band or step shows, step teams, or whatever. They all come in and they perform in front of our peers. So it's camaraderie. It's we're fraternizing together, but it's still a community a project. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So we need more things like that to bring people together.
And what like as far as the bands, what schools are y'all pulling those from?
From HID and Aldine. HID. So we've had MC Williams, we had Booker T. Washington, we've had Reese Academy for some 4 and 5 year olds to play violin. It's been a phenomenal event, man. Cool. So
we definitely need your assistance there. For the past year, I've been speaking with people from the Aldine district, and I would think being an alumni, graduating class president, and all that, they would be open to suggestions and ideas. But you go in, you try to meet with the principal. You set up appointments, that council, and I never hear back from them. And I would love to get the bands involved, the different, the different resources and the different programs that they have available in the schools. I would like to bring them out to schools and present them to the community, and vice versa. Get mentoring programs within the schools, have panel discussions, and things like that.
I agree.
Bringing in people from different walks of life that can speak to our children, expose them to different things. Because honestly, growing up in the low-income communities, we're exposed to sports, entertainment, and drugs as our only way out.
Yep.
And that's something that I'm passionate about changing, because I know I was fortunate enough to hook up with a group of people in high school that lived a completely different lifestyle than what I was used to. And what it did, it opened up my eyes to a lot. And it made me realize a lot of things that were going on in my community, it shouldn't be the norm.
Sure.
And it wasn't right, But before saying that, I didn't know any difference.
There's an organization on the south side they teach African martial arts called SEHA.
Okay.
And SEHA, every year, they take their kids that are in the community, they take them to Africa.
Wow.
I've gone 3 times. And, man, just to see these kids, it's exposed them, first of all, just to get on a plane and travel across the ocean to a whole other continent is just phenomenal. And what these brothers are doing out there, man, it's like, my hat's off to them, And so I would like to have them extend that program to the north side.
Right.
You know what I mean, and build some kind of a partnership.
Right,
You know what I mean,
right.
things like that. Because some kids don't even get out of Acres Home. I mean, Greens Point, Acres Home. They don't even travel out.
Nope.
You know what I mean, and so but just to even get a passport, go through international airport, and it's, man, I'm telling you, it changes your whole perspective on life, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely. So we definitely have to get our children exposed to different things. Definitely have to teach them different resources, get them, STEM programs, things like that. Back to, like you're saying, the instruments, different instruments,
yes,
violins and things like that. Not only are they're ways that they're different avenues and outlets, but they bring natural healing, spiritual healing, things like that to the community. How do we set these platforms up in these communities for our youth, for our young adults, to let them shine?
To set them up, it's all about networking, man. You know, like I say, I can reach out to Seha. They play the African drums. They come out, they can have a demonstration, and the more of the demand, they can come out. We maybe have a facility in here where they can come in and teach African martial arts, once a week and show drums. It's all about networking, man. That's all it's about,
That's cool. We also we have a martial arts school out here. We can speak with them to see, if they're willing to collab on something like that. Definitely be a good look for the community.
Where is it?
Actually, right down the street. It's off of Greens Road, right by the post office. What's the
Do you
street
know the
name?
master's name? Is it Mr. Chambers?
No, not Mr. Chambers.
Okay.
Gilder, Sensei Gilder.
Okay, I don't know him. Yeah, okay.
His dad actually, Northside. He has a karate school called Northside.
Okay.
Been around for many years.
Gotcha.
Yep. So okay, cool. So man, it's great having you on. Great speaking with you.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Anything else? Where will you be in the community? Where can we find you in the community?
Man, I'm everywhere, man. Like 2 weeks ago, we worked with Unity as well. They have community cleanups. Like they've been going around all parts of the city, 3rd Ward, 5th Ward, Acres Home. They just pick a spot and we go pick up illegal dumping, trash, anything like that. So I'm everywhere, man.
Cool. we love to speak with them too. We have community cleanups we do once a month. We're looking to expand, so we definitely always looking for new areas to go.
I'll put you in contact with them, man.
Okay, cool.
They hadn't been a Greens Point, I don't think, not yet. But I say the more folks we have, the better it is. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Right. What do you think about, for instance, Acres Home? I believe, do they have bike trails coming to Acres Home?
I believe so. I know they have one that's on the Bayou area through that way. They have those bike trails.
Right.
Yeah.
They're building some out here in Greens Point. They have some on the northeast side. Now, it's a tricky question because when you have signs for $6 million bike trails being built in your community, and then a tragedy like Harvey happens, and there's no process in play to reallocate funds to take care of the people in need, and I understand these are bonds and things like this, but when are we going to put the human element back into our government and our city officials and things like that, to where we just have a heart for the people?
Right. Right. That's why I'm running. I have a heart for the people.
Gotcha.
And like I said, it's going to take unity. We have to show, because the power has always been the people. But if we're segmented, fragmented, everybody's everywhere, they worry about just themselves, then that's how things slide up on the radar like that. That's how a bike trail can come in when, don't get me wrong, I have a bike, and I mean, I do bike rides, but not all the time, you know what I mean? And so, but once we get our people together and get our households stable, everything else is going to change.
And that's the thing, because I'm all for bike trails. I'm all for health and wellness, but when you're building a bike trail in a low-income community before building up the people in the community, I have an issue with that. And then it's going to raise property tax and things like that. So now I'm asking the question, why are you building this for real? Are you trying to find a way to push us out? And gentrification being it's a major issue in District B right now.
It is, I agree.
How do we protect ourselves from that, to where we're a part of it and not end result of it, where we pushed out and things like that?
Man, I don't want to sound discouraging, but like I said before, we have to get our people out of apartments into homes.
Okay.
Once they're in homes, then we can say, look, you know what? We don't want this bike trail. We want another civic center. We want a park that we can play basketball at, whatever it is. We got to get some people to get stationary, to get cemented in. You know what I mean? And that's the only way we're going to do it, because if not, we keep having transient livers, and even renters is hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's the only way. We got to get some involvement.
Yeah. And then we spoke about super neighborhoods, civic clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Another reality of it is you have people represent communities that don't even know they're being represented.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people establishing super neighborhoods, but the circle is real small. They're not promoting it and getting the community involved like they should.
Mm-hmm.
Civic clubs as well, where basically they're catering to themselves instead
Mm-hmm.
of the community. How
Mm-hmm.
do we combat that? Because we know who the people are,
Mm-hmm.
but they've been around so long, and you know the photo ops, they look good and have people believing that they're doing for the community.
Right. What I think we should do first is we had to start with our local businesses. 'Cause I know in Acres Home on our charter is mostly the businesses and the schools.
Mm-hmm.
You get that foundation in, and you start targeting the parents. Say, hey, you know what? Look, we had this meeting once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind coming in, listening what we have going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then once the parents come in, they can say, okay, you know what? Well, I know this is going on my street. We got to get more involvement, man. That's it. You know, that's the way around it.
Sound like a plan. Definitely we can get through the schools, because parents always read the paperwork and listen to their children with what they bring home from the schoolhouse. So that's definitely a good look. So again, any meet and greets coming up we need to know about?
I actually have a campaign birthday fundraiser this weekend. My birthday is August the 3rd, so we're going to have one at Bar Louie in Willowbrook. So I'll be out there, man. So if anybody want to come out and come talk to me, come on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday if I don't see you. How
right.
can we get in touch with you?
All my social media, my email address, my website as well.
Okay. And what is that?
So my website is www.robinjanderson.com. My email is robin4db@gmail.com.
Okay.
And of course, Facebook is Robin J. Anderson. And my Instagram is Robin_J_Anderson.
Okay, cool. Well, before we let you out of here, give me 3 local businesses that you love to frequent in District B.
Oh, wow. Tropical Express, they have some good snow cones. It's on Tower and Esther Street.
Okay.
I go to Victory Eatery on Victory and Carver over there.
Okay.
The Log Cabin, they have a pretty good breakfast over there. Pancakes, I haven't been able to finish 2 of them yet.
Okay.
So I like that one.
I'm gonna have to hit you up.
Yeah,
These all new to me. These all new to me.
Yeah, hit Log Cabin up, man. Tell them Rob sent you, man. And also, I like cigars too, man. I go to Cognac Cigars on Kirkendall, 1916 Kirkendall that way.
My boy KJ, yeah, I know
Yeah,
that spot.
KJ,
I know that spot very well.
Yeah, KJ, good guy, man.
Well, cool, man. We really appreciate having you on.
I appreciate you
Thank you
having
for
me.
the insight and information. Wish you the best, and want to continue to see you doing what you're doing in the community.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man. All righty.